Gene Shay with folk music here on Sunday, 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock every Sunday on this station.
This is 88.5 WXPN Philadelphia, 88.1 WXPH Harrisburg, 90.5 WKHS Wharton, Baltimore. Member-supported, non-commercial radio from the University of Pennsylvania. 88.5
XPN. I thought I'd play a piece from Court & Sparks, sort of in the middle of Joni's career, but I'd always loved the line about stoking the star maker machinery, which is something that Joni did so well. But when she earlier in her career, she was just beginning to stoke it, you know, even though it may have been unbeknownst to her. I don't know if she really thought she was going to be a star, but a lot of people who started to catch on to her material and got to know her charismatic qualities and her creative side knew at the very beginning that she was going to be someone real special. She was someone real special and still is. But I remember in those early days, she played the second fret, and on the very first interview, she came to town with her husband, Chuck Mitchell, who was also a singer, performing not with her. Occasionally they would do a song together, like Circle Game, but he did his own songs, art songs for the most part, theatrical songs, you know, Kurt Weill songs, Bertolt Brecht songs, and Jacques Brel, that kind of stuff. Well, she did, for the most part, her own songs and songs by people like Neil Young. She, in fact, on the very first interview, which is not available, did, on my show, did Neil Young's song, Sugar Mountain. First time that was ever introduced on radio here in the United States, for all I know. But and I do have a very bad recording of it somewhere. Well, let's get to the second interview with Joni Mitchell, and this was when she was working at the Second Fret, 19th and Sansom Streets in Philadelphia, and came on my show. And we're going to hear excerpts from interviews over the years from 67 through 1968. And take your phone calls here, 573-WXPN, if you'd like to get in touch. Want to do some of the requested songs? Or
let's see, what have we got here? Night in the City, Circle Game. Oh, From Both Sides Now. I'm really glad that somebody requested that, because that's a very new song, and I've been driving everybody crazy by playing it twice and 3 times a night. It's called From Both Sides Now.
Ah,
and
I haven't heard that one.
I'll play that one first. I should tell people a little bit about it. I was reading a book, and I haven't finished it yet, called Henderson the Rain King. And there's a line in it that I especially got hung up on. It was about when he was flying to Africa and searching for something. He said that in an age when people could look up and down at clouds, they shouldn't be afraid to die. And so I got this idea from both sides now. There are a lot of sides to everything, and so the song is called From Both Sides Now.
Mm-hmm.
Of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's cloud illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing where you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave them laughing where you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusions I recall. I really don't love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds, I've looked at life that way. But now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, wrong, win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all. I've looked at life from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all.
That's nice. It's a new one.
Very
How
new.
new is it?
About 3 days.
Oh. Well, Philadelphia. You heard it first on. No, I don't do any of this shticks. I noticed you're using that glottal thing that you use in
In Night in the City.
Yeah, that's a great way to make a song your own. Like nobody else can do it quite that way, right? I don't know how anybody. Well, they'll have to change the melody somewhat, I would imagine. It's almost. Is that
Ronk
not,
could do it because you have sort of two registers. Like you can sort of feel two different voices in your throat, can't you? Mm-hmm. That's all you have to do.
Have you heard
It's
Night in
a
the
split
City?
range.
where it
No,
goes?
I saw it in Broadside, but I haven't heard it. Loved
Well,
it.
you have to hear what Joni does with the vocal part. There's a.
It's just two different sticking.
Like a false
That's not.
second.
That's,
Yeah, it is a
it is.
falsetto.
It's not an octave difference, though. What is the difference
No.
in key? Do you know?
I
From one
really
to the
don't
other?
know. It really isn't as much as it sounds. It's just that one has more husk and the other one is much more clear. And so when you go from husk to clear, it sounds like a tenor and a
From
soprano.
husk to clear sound. From husk to clear.
The huskiness disguises it. Like I can sing the same note two different ways, and it's really the same note, but it sounds much lower with all the husk sort of, you know.
So it's really more of a quality thing than it is a tonal.
Yeah. It's very deceptive.
A woman called earlier this evening and said she heard a singer do Circle Game, and where can she get a hold of this song?
Oh, well, all my songs are available.
She didn't hear you sing it, nor did she hear Ian and Sylvia, and I want to ask you about their recording of it, because it didn't flip me when I heard their recording of it, what they did with it, you know.
You didn't like what they did.
As a matter of fact, I played it, I got the album. Usually I have a chance to program the albums and listen to them at home before I put them on the air. I got the album about an hour before I went on the air, and we just played it without listening to it, and I was really disappointed.
Well, it's a very difficult song. You know, you want to combine something that it has with a rock rhythm and sort of double the mileage on it. It's a very tempting thing to do, and I made the mistake once of orchestrating it and getting a blues band called the Siegel Schwall, who are also fine classical musicians, to do an arrangement that had sort of a rhythmic thing, and I tried to do a rock version of it, and I lost everything. It's strictly a ballad, but it's very tempting because it does have a certain thing, like people who do the song, from amateurs to professionals, find that it has a funny thing that happens, like in their repertoire. It does.
Like an undercurrent? I mean, in the song?
Well, it's a very requested song, no matter.
I thought
I've
you
heard it
meant-
done well, and I've heard it done badly, and it still seems to be a good song in their repertoire. And so you're tempted to say, well, people seem to like it. It's sort of catchy. If you put a rock beat to it, it would really, really be a hit. But it doesn't work.
Did Ian and Sylvia didn't they speed up the tempo
They
somewhat?
did. I think originally.
Did you hear that, Ed? We try to sing, thinking we had to keep in mind the way you perform the song.
Yeah. They do it much
on the
faster.
Circle
They've tried
Game,
to get it
they
under
do
3
speed it
minutes. I think at one time they toyed with the idea of it being a single. Otherwise, I don't see why they would have, tried to push it under the 3-minute mark.
They didn't edit any verses, though.
No, just choruses.
They took out some course. Do you have to make a conscious effort to keep your songs from sounding alike, or do you, or you just sort of let them? You know what I mean? Do you find yourself getting into certain patterns and chord changes that
I do.
I find that my songs, within a tuning, like I play mostly in tunings. The only song I don't play in a tuning is Urge for Going. And I find that unless there's a rhythmic change, that like certain songs back to back are different to me, but probably quite similar to the audience, even though they're different in subject matter or something, because of the tuning, because of the constant modal changes that I'm using, and because of the drone strings that I'm using. They have a similarity. The only way that I can avoid that in a set, and it would be no difficulty at all on an album, is to do maybe 2 songs in one tuning, and then 2 songs in another tuning, and 2 songs in another tuning, which means that I'm tuning up and tuning down all the way through my set. And it's only lately that I'm beginning to get enough variety within one tuning that I can play a whole set in a tuning. I have certain songs that I use as alternate, because they're very similar, and I wouldn't dare put them side by side, or they would be lost. Because of their
the more you write, the more prolific you are.
I think my songs, some of them are recognizable.
As Joni Mitchell type songs, Do you think there is a Tom Paxton type song? Could you recognize one? Do you think? Leonda?
I think he has a writing style like Dylan.
Yeah,
sings. I think all writers have a certain amount of style that
which
they
want to
can't
retain,
get away from.
But at the same, because I asked this question of Paxton, I thought it was
even Beatles songs. Like if you were to take away the orchestration, which makes them different, like in the arranging, which makes them different, and play them all back to back, there's very much sameness. They use funny modal changes and things too, and isolating them onto one instrument, I think you would find a lot of similarity between them. It's Martin that takes them and says, okay, this one's going to be far out eastern, and it's going to have zitars and groovy things like that, and the next one's going to have French horns, and that's what.
What's that guy's name again?
George Martin.
George Martin.
How long have you been writing?
Oh, let's see, about 2 years altogether. But see, I did write before I started songwriting. I was very active in an extracurricular writers club in high school.
It
was a creative writing club where we all got together and were critics of each other's works, and we just ripped it apart. But I used to write in prose. I never wrote within a rhyme scheme, like blank verse and things, just rhythmic things. But so it was different. But in the beginning, when you first start writing, there's great gaps from the time you write your first song till your second song, and gradually they start getting closer and closer together. It's a whole thing that, I know I wrote my first song, and it was half a year before I wrote another one, or even thought about writing another one.
How do you put your songs down? On tape recorders, or you notate music?
No, I don't do either.
You just remember?
I remember them. And then when I have them all worked out, and the lines all worked out, and the words all satisfactory, then I take them to somebody who either take a tape, or I take myself, and we sit down and run through it, and he puts it all down. And the only trouble is the fellow who used to do my lead sheets got most of them wrong. And I think Night in the City is in the last magazine.
The Broadside?
The Broadside.
New York Broadside?
The Boston Broadside, I think. And it's, I believe, in 4/4 time rather than in waltz time, which is going to be difficult for people that are trying to learn it from that. And he'd messed up the chords in Urge for Going, so that I tried to play it and they didn't work somehow. So I'm having them all done over again, and they're all going to be accurate.
Joni Mitchell, an excerpt from one interview I did with her, and that was the one where, of course, you heard she performed the song that she had written 2 days earlier in Philadelphia. She stayed with Joy Schreiber. Joy Schreiber was the manager of the Second Fret in 19th and Sansom, very active folk club. And Joni used to come to Philly and spend the weekend, usually Thursday through Sunday, at Joy's house. And that's where she wrote Both Sides Now. We're going to take a bit of a break here, come right back and hear another interview with Joni Mitchell. 88.5 XBM. This is Gene Shay, and we're listening to early interviews I did with Joni Mitchell way back in 1967 and then again in 1968. A couple of times as Joni played the area clubs. Sometimes, in fact, on one occasion, she played the Second Fret on Sansom Street in Philly, and then stayed around for a couple of days during the next week before her gig at the Main Point on Lancaster Avenue in Bryn Mawr. And that gave her time to shop. She used to buy antique clothing and lots of neat things, and also she used to hang out at some of the local rock bars like the Trauma. On that last interview, you heard some additional voices there. The female voice was Leonda. You may remember her. She sang her own songs when she was from Boston. And you heard a male voice other than mine, and that was Gordon Lightfoot, who happened to be in the studio at the same time, a friend of Joni's from Toronto. Back to Joni Mitchell now, and more interviews from her early days here in Philadelphia.
Come and lay your troubles down, just like me. He'll drop his defenses, you'll see through the storm to the heart of the man. But the moment he senses you've seen him, he'll leave you as fast as he can. He'll return to his shadows where no one can look in and see. And he'll wake in the night and he'll cry like a child, just like me. Just like me, settling a score with a world that wants a reason every time you turn around. Just like me, he's looking for a door, standing open saying welcome, come and lay your troubles down. Just like me. I've seen him look hungry for someone to tell him you're doing just fine. And the songs that he sung me have loneliness woven between every line. With no strings to hold him, I guess he could call himself free. Yes, he's free to be empty and lonely and wrong, just like me. Just like me, settling a score with a world that wants a reason every time you turn around. Just like me, he's looking for a door, standing open saying welcome, come and lay your troubles down. Just like me. Just like me.
Yeah, that's Joni Mitchell with the first. Were you going down, or you just happened to be in that tuning?
Just like me.
Yeah,
That's
I know
what
that. No, I
was.
know. I know the song, but I meant, it just happened to be the top of our request
Right.
list. I guess it was the first one called in around 9:30 or so. Have you ever heard Joni sing with a cookie in her mouth?
No, how does it go?
It's called the Bagel Game.
Oh, wow.
No, I don't feel bad.
You know, you were talking about writing a new verse to a song. I just heard a tape that was recorded at the second fret, and Joni was talking about some songs. You know, the one you wrote a little bit about a gambler.
Oh, what's the story, Mr. Blue? Yeah.
Yeah, and you wrote a line in there that you said that you didn't want to use because your mother and some other people told you not to use that
Well, the
line.
whole-
You put all these little fragments together into one.
The song,
Thank you, I don't mind if
this isn't really true. I say a lot of things on
What
stage
is?
that aren't really true, but the way I introduced the song is that I decided that since Bob Dylan could put songs together from leftover lines, that I should be able to too, so I threw this whole song together. And to give them an example of how the lines sounded, in their original form before they were transcribed into the new song, as I borrowed one from unfinished things all over the place. I wrote one song about a gambler, which went, in a day or two, I'll be laying you odds.
Oh, my. Uh-oh.
You see what I'm meant.
Yeah.
Joan, could you sing Blue on Blue? I've never heard Blue on Blue, I don't believe.
Haven't you?
Well, maybe I did. I don't think you sang it last week, but you,
What else is on that list?
on that list. Let me see.
There must be something that I haven't done on the show. I could do my new song that isn't finished yet. Eastern Rain, I could do.
Okay, whatever you want to do.
Let me do that one. That wasn't even requested, but
What's that?
Eastern Rain.
All right. Are you ever in a straight tuning? I mean, how often are you? Usually everything
Only
has...
one song, Urge for Going. It's the only one standard. This is my one Eastern flavored song.
There.
Yeah, how did you you just worked out those chords?
That's with a full bar.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a minor. But also, I like treble drone strings a lot.
Right. Yeah,
it's really
very
funny
interesting.
inversions and things.
There's a lot of things you can do with the guitar.
We have time for about one more song, and Joni.
I'm tempted to play that new thing.
It certainly is a beautiful guitar.
I better not do it. It's not really ready. It needs another verse, but I get so excited when I write something.
We could work out a verse here, maybe.
Get Gordon to write the other one. Well, we decided that my dress is made of mithril.
Mitheral. I don't know what Mitheral is. What is it?
Well, Mitheral is a chain-like material that that dwarves make armor out of.
Oh.
So, dwarves are
Is that
excellent
from
armor makers.
Lord of the Rings?
Right.
Oh.
Dwarves were excellent at making armor. They used to make these coats out of mithril
It's very
chains.
lightweight and very
Right.
serviceable and very sturdy.
Right, and they used to wear it under their shirts all the time, so nobody would know that they wore it.
Right.
But he
So
used to
this
be able
is-
to stick out arrows and things.
Sort of lavender and light green and dark green and orange and pink and white mithril in an Art Nouveau paisley. Almost ready.
What are you going to do?
Well, we got another request for Blue on Blue, so I guess that has the most checks, does it?
I would think so.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Have you heard Blue and Blue?
No. Maybe I
I
did.
think you've heard this one.
I
This is-
probably have.
I think so. Blue on blue, skies in your eyes, staring away like I wasn't here. Where do you go when you fantasize? Bet you wish I'd disappear. Leave you to dream and leave you alone, lost in a world that's all your own. Can I come to blue on blue? Dreams like you are making now are very hard to share. All I ask is one small favor. Dream a dream and wish me there. Gold on gold, sun in your hair, spinning the rainbow, weaving the wind, brewing the dye for the midnight air, counting the gold at the rainbow's end. Maybe a princess whispers your name out of a time before I came. I'll never know. Gold on gold, dreams like you are making now are very hard to share. All I ask is one small favor. Dream a dream and wish me there. Blue on blue. That's the whole part.
That's the euphonium.
Right.
Somebody answered. That's good.
That's cool.
Very nice.
Joni Mitchell back in the 60s and recorded on my radio show. I guess that one was from 1967. The next interview is from 68 at WDAS-FM, where I worked for a couple of years. Should mention that when Joni Mitchell first came to town, the very first time I saw her, she was wearing a gold lame mini dress and pump heels and stockings, and she was with her husband, and that was sort of like the hip dress at the time. But as I got to know her, and as she came back to Philly, and the dress changed and the times changed, eventually she was wearing paisleys and unusual Art Nouveau kinds of looks, and of course jeans and T-shirts, and antique clothing was one of her interests, and she bought a lot of antique clothing right around the Rittenhouse Square area. When she was in Philly, she looked forward to shopping at some of the old curio shops where she could find beaded bags and jewelry and and old clothes. And then there was a period in her life, and I remember seeing her specifically she was wearing a Marine officer's dress uniform with a pair of jeans. She looked great, by the way. She was wearing this blue jacket with those big epaulets, and it was something she picked up, and it was that time of costume time, right around the time of Sgt. Pepper and the Beatles dressing up in costume, and she was right up there with everybody else and wearing stuff like that. Also, I saw her marriage break up. When she first came to Philly, she was with her husband, Chuck Mitchell, but in later years, as she came back to play the second fret on the main point, she was no longer with her husband. Occasionally she was with a fellow by the name of Michael, who I figured was Michael from Mountains. Never did find that one out, and I've been meaning to ask her, and someday I will. In any case, a creative woman from the very get-go. She was painting when she was working at the second fret and wasn't making music. She always had like paints with her or Pentels, and she did all kinds of sort of stained glass kind of things on big translucent pads, and was just constantly coming up with new stuff, either artistically, art, painting, or in her lyrics and in her melodies and in her tunings. In this final section, recorded at WDAS-FM, you'll hear in the background Dave Van Ronk, and I think Jamie Brockett was here, and Chris Smither was at the session a little bit later on. The Young Tradition, Heather and Royston Wood, and Peter Bellamy pop by, and we cut most of those people out so you could hear more of Joni, and you'll hear her, I think, in this section talk about her California kitchen tuning. Get your pencils out, and also all the different acronyms she used for things. Her publishing company, she was very much into the mythological world that Tolkien came up with for Lord of the Rings, but she had her own characters and her own people, and she'll talk about them. Joni Mitchell.
Here. One of them, I hope, did you remember about your publisher? Do you remember it?
SIQUOMB, SIQUOMB. That means she is Queen undisputedly of Mind Beauty, and that's the queen of this mythology that I'm writing.
Is there a song that you've written about a fife and drum or something like that?
It's called The Fiddle and the Drum.
Fiddle and the Drum.
My song for America.
Okay. And what is this question? Somebody jotted this down. Record of Circle Game. What is that?
Is there going to be a record?
Oh, is there going to be a recording of Circle Game?
I'm going to record it, I think, on my next album. I'm almost positive. Things might happen different in the studio, but I plan to record it for the record.
I've been meaning to ask you, from both sides now, I mean, that was your original title, and I always call it that, and then was Dave Van Ronk the first one to call it Clouds?
I call it Clouds, mm-hmm.
Now, what do you call it? Or does it matter?
Well, I sort of move back and forth between the two. Dave said, he said to me when I first wrote the song, when he decided he wanted to sing it, that the name of it wasn't Both Sides Now at all, it was called Clouds. He insisted, you know how Dave is, I mean, he's very definite about it, that it was called Clouds. And I said, okay, and it was kind of confusing. I thought that Both Sides Now was a better title. Lately I've been thinking that Clouds not only is a nice title, but it's shorter, for one thing. And it does apply all the way through. I wanted something that had continuity. I like continuity. And I thought Both Sides Now applied because it was a repeated line. And but Clouds applies because it's really a repeated thought. I think it's a nicer title.
Can you play Chris's guitar? I mean, is it your...
I think so.
Is that all right with you, Chris?
Oh, it's fine with me.
I'll tell you, there's so many requests you couldn't possibly get to them all, but maybe you could just select one or two,
Well, let me see.
We're especially interested in your new songs, and I'm especially interested in that song and your whole mythology thing that you started as a novel, I guess, or as a...
Oh, I haven't really started it as a novel. I have all sorts of...
Did you just sort of outline this idea?
Projects. No, I don't really set out to work on something very often. I just sort of let it work on me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the mythology began that way. It began with a drawing of a little woman creature petal thing. It was sort of like a mermaid, but it didn't have a fish's tail. It had more like seaweed at the bottom of it, and leaves that came down the shoulders and all around the breasts, and sort of a skull cap of leaves and things. And they looked like the bottom of them might be made out of long petals or seaweeds or something. Mm-hmm. And they're about the same size, big enough to float out of a guitar sound hole. And I called them, I did the drawing, and then I wrote... Perhaps our souls are little ladies, which I realized is Posal. So I said, aha, this is a race of tiny women called the Posal. Now I must have a race of tiny men so that the race continues. I thought they should be mortals rather than immortals, so they should have about the lifespan of a flower. And rather than have bees, I thought it'd be interesting to create the men to go along with it. So I called the men Mosong, which is maybe our souls are little men, but I haven't drawn them yet. I haven't really figured out what they will look like yet.
You're doing a lot of painting now. A lot more painting than writing songs in the last few months?
No more than. I've always drawn a lot. I carry drawing books with me on the road, and I fill them up, and I haven't really developed a style yet, you know.
Well, are the drawings you're doing now concerned with this mythological kingdom or whatever?
I don't really work it that way, Gene. You know,
I mean, just whatever happens.
Yes. Right now I'm working on I read a book on Renaissance art, and I got all hung up with that sort of three-dimensional detail, and I said, oh, I must try this. And I said, if I believe that I can paint that way, I'll be able to. But it really takes 10 million times more patience than I have. I say, oh, I just can't be bothered, and it gets sort of impressionistic, and it's mixed in with things that are very realistic, and so it really must have taken a phenomenal amount of drive and energy for those men to paint that way. Golly. So I've done this sort of Norman Rockwell junior high school portrait of myself, and I'm losing interest in it very quickly, and wishing that I could run back to my colored ink washes, things like the last album cover, which is the kind of thing I like to do.
Yeah,
and that's the style that's, in a way, that's the style that the Posol and all these drawings I told you about are written in.
Yeah,
and I like to do drawings and then like some sort of mythical drawing, and then figure out what it is, like write a poem after I've done the drawing. It was from the drawings that I got the idea. I wrote the sentence, perhaps our souls are little ladies, and realized that it's spelt Posol. And then I realized that you could make just wonderful words by making sentences, you know, by phrasing them that way. Sisotowbell Lane means somehow in spite of trouble ours will be everlasting love. And I just took a thought and then kept working it until the vowels made a nice sounding word, you know. And what are some of the other ones? Oh yes, I have a king in the mythology whose name is Hiwaphob, he who is especially fond of birds. And a cat named Siofa, which means she is our favorite animal. But it's not pulled together. I mean, that's all I have is bits of poetry, bits of drawings and things. There's no real story. I have these characters, but I have no story. So I'm waiting for that to happen. I'm hoping that either through a poem they will unify themselves. It's like my songs, like even though I write each song individually, like gradually, it's like laying in pieces. Every time I write a new song, they keep following. You know how I tried to do it chronologically on the first album, so it told a story. Well, I wish that I had some of those songs now to work with, because things I've written since then like fall into a storyline that's just, you know, I mean, it really takes you through all of these things. That's what I mean about letting it write me instead of me write it. I just let the pieces fall into place. If I can remember that tuning. Do you mind if I tune this up, Chris?
How long ago was this written?
Last February, I think. Just about, no, let's see.
Right after?
No, while I was doing the album, I wrote it. So it must have been January or February. Keep talking.
Yeah, somebody also asked if you can think about this while you're tuning. Do you remember the chord changes in, let me see now, in Marcy?
I remember them.
Do you know them? Can you give this young lady who called the first few chords?
Oh, I have no idea. It's in a tuning, and I just.
Oh, it's in a special tuning?
Oh yeah. I only play 2 songs in standard tuning, and I don't know the names of the chords for them either, because they're not completed chords.
Sisotowbell Lane, though he's fixing the pump in the rain, he brings us no shame. We always knew that he always knew. Up over the hill, jovial neighbors come down when they will with stories stories to tell. Sometimes they do, yes, sometimes we do. We have a rocking chair, each of us rocks his share, eating muffin buns and berries by the steamy kitchen window. Sometimes we do, our tongues turn blue. Sisotowbell Lane, anywhere else now would seem very strange. The seasons are changing every day, in every way. Sometimes it is spring, sometimes it is not anything a poet can sing. Sometimes we try, yes, we always try. Some days we rock and stare at the woodlands and the grasslands and the badlands across the river. Sometimes we do, we like the view. Sisotowbell Lane, anywhere else now would seem very strange. I'm repeating a verse.
All right.
Sisotowbell Lane, go to the city, you'll come back again to wade through the grain. You always do. Yes, we always do. Come back to the stars, sweet well water and pickling jars. We'll lend you the car, we always do. Well, sometimes we do. We have a rocking chair, someone is always there, rocking rhythms while awaiting with a candle in the window. Sometimes we do, we wait for you.
Such a lovely song. That's the kind of song, and it's sort of like Tolkien, where you want the story to go on, and just go on and on and on. And that your chorus, I guess it is, Sisotowbell Lane, is so lush and lovely and melodic, and so Joni Mitchellish, and the old Mitchell tradition. The most requests we received tonight were for Circle. You may be interested in the, we sort of check things off as they come in. Circle Game is by and large the all-time favorite here on our top 64 here. Circle Game, Chelsea Morning is probably next, and then in this order, Clouds, or both sides now, depending on what part of the country you come from, Marcy. And then we have requests for Midnight Cowboy and London Bridge and Cactus Tree and I Don't Know Where I Stand, a couple.
God, that's years ago that I did.
Yeah, a lot of people called and said, what about the old songs? How come...
Well, they're like old paintings. It's like if you're an art student and you have a folio full of paintings and you look back over it and you say, my God, when did I do that? How did I do that? And you can't identify with it after a while. Some songs that are, I'm afraid, are lost until I re-identify with them.
Isn't it a shame that a lot of contemporary singers, songwriters, they write 20 songs, just to use any number, and they record their first album, they leave off some of the songs that everybody liked, and then they sort of move on to new things. and feel the same way about their old songs. But people still, never heard. For instance, you're going to record a second album, and you're not sure at this point, I don't think, if you're going to record from both sides now, which you haven't recorded.
I think I'll record that.
But you may never record London Bridge or
I don't even remember how I did that. That was really strange. I used to do that.
Or Eastern Rain.
I wrote, that was just after I got back from London. It was pure nonsense. I can't remember anything about it now.
Someone asked if you could give a little report on London and some of the people there, such as Daryl Adams. And
well,
did you meet many of the singers?
No, I've had such a bad bout. Last spring, Larry and Joy read my tarot cards. And Larry said to me, he said, uh-oh. And he just sort of thumbed over. I said, wait a minute, what's that? And he said, there's going to be a lot of sickness. And, well, I've just sort of been, I just say, uh-oh, here it comes again, And as soon as I got off the plane in England, I stepped off into the worst flood weather in recorded English history. And with my resistance and my health being kind of low in the first place, both Elliot, my manager, and I got dreadful colds as soon as we stepped off the plane. So it was all business. And when we weren't doing TV shows or whatever, we were recuperating in this little tiny hotel with steam things, and it was awful. So I really didn't get a chance to do much socializing. I did go out into the country one day, and I missed a wonderful chance. The film that was on of the Beatles singing "Hey Jude." That portion that was on TV here. Well, I was invited to go to that show, and in England, that was a portion of the show. The Hollies were on it. Graham Nash is a very good friend of mine. The Hollies were there, and he said, "Come on down, it should be fun," And I couldn't go. I couldn't go out because it was...
You mean you're so weak, or you just were coughing, sneezing, and miserable?
Yeah, I thought it was just... I didn't want to meet all of those wonderful people with a runny nose. So I didn't go.
Do you know a song...
Mary Hopkins was on it. It was a beautiful show. I watched it on TV anyway. You just saw the Beatles portion of it, the Hey Jude, didn't you?
Yeah.
You should have seen the rest of it.
They showed all the other people that were there, too.
Oh, did they?
Oh, yeah, fine.
Oh, Mary Hopkins sang that beautiful song,
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't show anything else singing.
Those were the days.
The Hey Jude, but
and the Hollies sang, and there were all sorts of good people.
Drink your soda while I ask you some questions. You've been trying to get to that bottle. A soda. You wrote a song called Dr. Junk. That was about that dentist, wasn't
Dr. Junk.
And the Ian Campbell group recorded that. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They recorded the Circle Game, too, I think.
Yeah, their new album is called Circle Game.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh, you don't have it, do you?
No, it's on Transatlantic label. It's a British label. And they now call themselves the Ian Campbell Group as opposed to the Ian Campbell Folk Group. What is that again? You're pointing something here. Oh, it's a request for Dr. Junk. Well, there are lots of requests. We just, I'm just trying to get to some of the questions here. At the second fret, Dave Van Ronk sang a song about an angel who tapes wings on. Do you know anything about that song?
Yeah, that's called the song about the Midway. That song about the Midway.
Got a few requests for that. And got a number of requests for the gallery, which I think is one of your
new ones.
Current.
Yes.
Yeah. And what is this? What is your sign?
What is my sign? Parsley with my moon in pliers. No, I am a dreaded Scorpio with moon in Pisces and Sagittarius rising, born of Gemini and Virgo.
To the books, everyone. They ask me what sign I was born under. I usually say for rent.
That's great.
What was that question? Give the tuning of each song. Well, you can't give the tuning of each song, can you?
Dear.
Oh.
The one that I just played in?
Yeah, what tuning? That was in a...
That's California kitchen tuning.
California kitchen tunings. Can you explain that to Philadelphians?
Sure. It's, the E string is natural. The second string is up a half tone. The third string is down a whole tone. The fourth string is natural. The fifth string is down a whole tone, I believe. And I think the bass is down like 2 tones.
How did it get California Kitchen? I mean, do you know? Or is it just, that's what they call it?
That's what I called it, yeah. I just...
Do you know that Joni Mitchell is going to be in a movie? She's going to be in Arlo Guthrie's movie?
Oh, exactly.
Alice's Restaurant, is that right?
Yes, it's still pending because, well, it's...
It's pending.
I would like to do it, and they would like to have me do it, but they're really, well, I shouldn't badmouth them on the air.
Well, you can.
Well, they wanted me to write a song first with 1 week's notice, but I couldn't, I just couldn't do it. And I had a song that is fine, I think, called, I'm supposed to sing at a hippie funeral in the movie. And sort of a little wakey thing. Well, rather than writing a funeral song, I have a song that sort of touches briefly on death. Do you remember Songs to Aging Children Come?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a line that goes, some come dark and strange, like some referring to songs. Some come dark and strange like dying crows and ravens whistling, lines of weeping, strings of crying, so much sad in listening. Songs to aging children come, aging children I am one. Does the moon play only silver when it strums the galaxy? Dying roses, will they will their perfume rhapsodies to me? Songs to aging children and so on. So I wanted to do that, but what they wanted to do, they wanted 50% of the song or something like that. So Elliot hit the roof.
Is that so they can put out an album of the songs for the movie?
Well,
I mean, is that part of the package?
So they're saying, well, either give us 50% of the song or you can't do the movie. Well, I would rather not do the movie.
Yeah, after all, it's 100% your song.
Yeah.
How was David Crosby as a producer?
Oh, David's beautiful. He had some beautiful ideas. We had trouble with our engineer, and David and, well, both of us were green at it, like he'd never produced an album independently before. We did have troubles. The fellow who engineered it died shortly afterwards. That sounds really morbid, but it's true. And he was so patient, but he was very sick and he drank a lot, and his wife had just left him. His whole luck just turned rotten and everything, and he finally just gave up. But we were in a brand new studio, the first person to use it, a new room at Sunset Sound. And when we had completed the album, which sounded beautiful, like in the studio as far as the sound was concerned, it was very clear and everything. When we finished it and we took it out of the studio, there was a bit of noise on it, but we thought it was in the speakers. And we took the tape off and we played it, and we found out that there was tape hiss, an incredible amount of tape hiss, so that when you came to the spaces on the bands, when the tape was clean, it was like silence. There was all of this noise underneath the track, this sort of crackling and things.
Joni Mitchell talking about her first album and how it was sort of messed up in the sound recording of it. And from what I understand, that has been fixed up over the years, and they were able to restore it to its original sound. Interviews with Joni Mitchell from the 60s. I hope you've enjoyed them. This is Gene Shay, turning things over in a few minutes to Deb D'Alessandro here at 88.5 XPN with Amazon Country. Let's close out with a Joni song.